Hello and welcome to Zig Wheels, wow or what? And a Skoda SUV is pretty wow. And now that the Kushaq has finally been unveiled, you get to score it. And we'll tell you all about it. So get cracking in the comment section.
It's an SUV, right? Going up against the likes of Kia Seltos, Hyundai's Creta. So is this SUV enough? Well, up until now, we had only one dimension in hand, and that was the wheelbase, which was the longest in the segment. But now that we have the other dimensions in hand, and you'll see them on the screen here, you'll notice that it isn't as long, it isn't as wide, and it isn't as tall as its competitors. So you could say that SUV quotient isn't as much as its rivals. And interestingly, the wheels that it's using are 17 inches like its competition, but they aren't as wide. So the overall height has been hampered because of that. In terms of ground clearance, you get 188 millimeters of ground clearance, which of course would have been better if it had a little bit more profile. But like I was saying, it's the platform which is limiting the width.
So just how wow is its SUV quotient? Tell us right away. But its style quotient is sure to be higher. The Kushaq looks strong but classy. Thankfully, the glowing grille from the concept has been done away with. Its angular face packs LED DRLs as standard and LED headlamps on the top end too. Strong creases run down the side and the gorgeous 17-inch Atlas alloys look stunning, while you get smaller 16-inch rims on the lower variants. The crisp tail gets chrome touches to spice things up, and the tail lamps are part LED and part halogen and are standard across the range. So the overall design is strong, but just how wow? Get going again.
So what's powering the Kushaq? Well, there are a choice of two petrol engines. Yeah, there are no diesels on offer. The base engine, of course, is the 3-cylinder, 1-liter turbocharged petrol that we've already seen in the Rapid. This makes 175 Newton meters of torque, so it's really torquey and we've really enjoyed it. We consider it the benchmark 3-cylinder, 1-liter engine in the market today.
But to make it even sweeter for the Kushaq, Skoda engineers have made more improvements on the inside. Goody.
Now this is going to be offered with a 6-speed manual transmission and a 6-speed automatic. It is the first time it's been put to use globally by the Volkswagen Group, and it should offer a more refined, smoother and a more fuel-efficient experience as well. So those of you looking for a diesel alternative, this 3-cylinder engine might be the one to go for. And don't mind spending a little bit more, then there's the 1.5-liter TSI. This is the 4-cylinder engine. This isn't being manufactured in India, so this will be a bit more expensive than the 1-liter TSI for sure. And this is offered with a 6-speed manual transmission, which will appeal to enthusiasts. And there's the 7-speed DCT. Now this will be for sure a pretty fuel-efficient combination as well, because this 4-cylinder engine gets cylinder deactivation technology. So it should be frugal when you're driving on a light load or cruising out on the highway. And of course, it also gets stop-start technology.
And incredibly, except for the base active variant, which only gets the 1-liter TSI with the manual transmission, all the other engines and gearboxes are available in the Ambition and Style variants. That seems like a 4 out of 5 score to us. But what do you think? Well, there's no doubt that there is cleverness under the hood, and there's cleverness elsewhere too.
Simply clever touches. There are plenty to be seen here as well. Starting with, I think, the one that's the simplest in that sense. Here in the cup holder, there are these little rubber mats in here, specially dotted so that if you put a bottle in there, it gets a good amount of grip and you can just twist it open while it's still in the holder. Aside from that, a touch that I liked is that the wireless charging pad isn't placed horizontally, it's placed longitudinally. So even if you have a long phone, it's pretty easy to just drop it in there, right? And to take it out as well, you don't have to fiddle around. Aside from that, clever touches include like these simple rubber bands in the door pockets. So if you're stowing stuff in there, it doesn't keep sliding around, it stays in place. And aside from that, there's a very clever little touch for India, which is this little tray here on the dash top, which is where you put your idles. Now, that's not the clever bit. The clever bit is they've chosen a particularly smooth plastic there so that when you stick it on, it gets, stuck easy. To up the safety quotient as well, there's this little simple thing that Skoda has done, which is to put a small reflective dot on the bottom edge of the door on the inside. So if you open it on a dark night, vehicles coming from far away will be able to spot that far more easily.
So just how clever is this Skoda? We'd say 3 out of 5, because we missed the umbrella holders and the sleep package from the Kodiaq.
And talking about safety, This Kushaq is going to come with ESC as standard. It's of course going to have front and rear parking sensors. Along with that, 2 airbags will be the base, whereas 6 airbags will also be offered here on the Kushaq. There's one very interesting additional safety technology which prevents secondary collisions after a primary one, because it applies the brakes automatically and holds them on to keep the vehicle from rolling forward after that. So yes, you will also get ISOFIX mounts for the rear seats as well, and of course, as you can see, adjustable headrests are there for all the 5 passengers. Finally, does it feel good? Well, if you're looking to step up from the Skoda Rapid, you would definitely find the Kushaq to be a significant step up in terms of the experience inside the cabin. Smaller details like this plastic used here, which is like a carbon fiber type finish. It's actually textured and it looks so cool the way the light swirls around on it. And there's this piano black which has a little bit of shimmer to it. So it all looks and feels good. So the materials and the way it's built, of course it's solid. But on the downside, you would say that maybe you could have done with a little bit of soft touch materials, which you really don't have in the cabin over here. But the design of the dashboard, if you look at the aircon vents, these were elements we saw on the Vision Iron and have been carried forward over here, all of which look really cool. And the steering wheel, nicely leather wrapped.
It is a unique 2-spoke design, and it has paddle shifters for the automatic too.
And the touch that I really like are these rollers here, which, as you can see, control the volume, and you can click them as well to either mute or unmute it, and similar controls here as well for your MID. So it's got the look, it feels right, and there are these other nice little touches as well. So Skoda have tried to do something different with the air conditioning system. It's a touch-based control for the fan speed and the temperature. So we're not huge fans of this idea altogether, but they've executed well, because there are these channels through which you can run your finger, and there are shortcuts to go to the lowest temperature setting or to the highest, and similarly for the fan speed. So it is something that you could use on the go as well. So for that comfort in our hot weather, you also get ventilated seats, and you can see there are 2 stages of cooling on offer here. So that will definitely make you feel all the more comfortable here inside the cabin. In terms of pairing of features, if you think about it, there are no powered seats on offer on the Kushaq either.
There's no air purifier either, but it does have some new age features.
Well, as you can see, you've got a 10-inch infotainment screen here, which is based on Android, and this offers you wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay connectivity. You also get 2 USB-C ports up here in the front as well, and in the lower variants you get a 7-inch touchscreen right from the base variant, which is truly impressive. To keep the look consistent, the overall shape and size will remain the same, more or less the same, even in the lower variants where you get a smaller 7-inch screen instead. This, on the higher variants, is paired with a 6-speaker sound setup that also has a 7th sub in the boot, so that should be pretty good in terms of the sound quality, but we don't really know right now what it's like. And this also, in terms of the wow factor, will give you ambient lighting, and of course there is a sunroof, but it isn't a panoramic sunroof. So in terms of misses, yes, there are a few. We could also talk about the fact that the driver's display is analog with just a simple MID on offer right now. But what we understand is that there is an upgrade in terms of a full digital display, and that will come a little bit later. Right now, Skoda is going to be offering 3 variants, ending up with the top-end style which we've got here, but Skoda has a history for bringing out slightly more premium variants as well, which have a little bit more in terms of features and the feel-good factor. So that you could expect to follow soon after the launch of the Kushaq. So might have to wait a little bit longer for that though.
How would you rate the wow factor of the feature list? It seems like Skoda is trying to balance the feature list and the price very carefully and sensibly.
So yes, you do have connected car tech here, but it is focused on giving you greater safety for your family, making sure your vehicle isn't misused, and of course, just getting to know that the vehicle is safe on the road. So you have SOS alerts, you have geofencing, you have high speed warning, you have emergency braking warning, so all those things. And along with that, there's a very interesting additional feature, which I will try to show you right here, the valet mode. Now when you switch on the valet mode, you just have to set in your PIN, and then you hand the car over to the valet, and when it comes back and you unlock it, it will tell you exactly how the car has been used in terms of the speeds. It will also tell you which doors were opened, whether the boot was open. So all this information will be available to you in the valet mode. Now, if you ask me, this might be helpful not just for valets, maybe even if you hand your car over to your kids, maybe. Remember, don't tell your parents this car has that mode, right? Well, you can see where that wheelbase has been put to good use, can't you? Look at the amount of knee room here. You can really stretch out if you want to. Now the headroom also, as you can see, is plenty. We put Tushar in here at one point and he had some room to spare despite that, and he is way above 6 feet. And the one area where it is, well, not as strong as the competition is in terms of width. As you can see here, that it isn't that wide. So as a 5-seater, it would be a bit of a squeeze.
But we'd still think of this as a 4-seater. A comfy 4-seater.
The seats also nice, well cushioned, and you can see that they're nicely scooped out to give you that support when you're driving around. You have all the basics and essentials like your armrest with cup holders. You have aircon vents, and you also get 2 USB ports here at the back. And to go along with the USB ports, you have phone pockets built into the seat backs here for both the seats, and that is really a handy touch if you ask me. So yes, this back seat, not the widest, but it's certainly going to be a good place to spend time in even for longer journeys.
So how would you rate the Kushaq's back seat? And let's also see how the Kushaq treats your luggage. When it comes to small bags, it has thoughtful hooks in the boot, which will be very welcome on shopping trips on the weekend. But the 385-litre boot is smaller than the competition and some sub-4-meter SUVs too. So on longer journeys, pack carefully.
So the Kushaq, we've had huge expectations from it, and now if there's that one thing that I wanted in this a little bit more of, it would have been that butch SUV presence. Because if it had that, I would be happy to live with the fact that the boot space isn't the largest in the class, and that the width isn't all that much, and it's great as a 4-seater primarily, and that it isn't really giving you all those wow features. Because what you're getting here is an SUV that's giving you a very sensible approach to the premiumness that you expect from a European manufacturer. It feels robust, it feels premium, and it feels comfortable. And it's also offering you a good range of powertrains to choose from. So the Kushaq, it's here, almost here, because it's going to be launched in June. What prices do you think would make it a sensible pick in line with what the package is offering you? According to me, somewhere starting off at 9 lakh rupees for the base variant, which is still going to be pretty well equipped, going up to about 17 lakhs for the top end with all the bells and whistles, and of course that DSG with the 1.5 TSI engine would be about right.